Well, welcome to another episode of the Mystery School.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Tonight's guest, we have my dad, Mr. Jimmy Burton. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, hello.
And Steve Stizzo.
Yep, I'm back.
Mystery School favorite.
I'm back.
Took a poll and we found that he is the Mystery School favorite guest. So based on listener voting, we have brought him back tonight for. You won the poll.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm right across the street too. So.
And
were they caucusing for you?
we had a life-size cardboard stand-up thing.
It was
out on the street.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
You campaigned hard, and it came out on top. So congratulations.
Great.
Welcome again.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm excited to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Long time coming.
Yeah.
So good.
Cool. I actually met you before I even met Dustin.
Yeah, I think you did.
Me and Steve used to play ping pong with Bill, and you've known Bill for a long time.
It's over 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he and I go back pretty deep.
Yeah, and then I remember you came to ping pong before. I was like, oh, who's the guy in the suit?
Yeah, because I come from work.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks I'm a
Who's the
cop.
suit?
Yeah. This guy doesn't belong here.
But yeah, and then hey, what comes back around, huh? Bill introduced me to Tony. Me and Tony created some jams, and now we got my dad here to kind of circle back around. It's kind of a family affair tonight, huh?
Yeah.
That's kind of neat. We got the quartet. One half of both halves of the band are related, right? Almost,
yeah.
Closely, pretty much.
For all intents and purposes, yeah.
But yeah, welcome. So, what are you trying to get out of tonight? Where do you want to go with this?
Dustin always asks that weird question.
Geez, actually, I just don't want to F it up. I just want to have a good time, and just play, just have some fun.
You play a lot of songs and rehearsals in a band, F&B, Friday night band.
Yeah,
so
in F&B, that's what I do. Write a lot of songs and
looking to jam.
Do a lot. Yeah, I love to jam, and we can, maybe play a couple of originals. It's just whatever we want to do. Like I said, I just want to kind of hang.
Yeah, do you have a few new songs since I've been jamming with you guys?
I got a couple. I got one that I've been working on called "I'm Coming Down." That's a really simple song, but it was something that we've been going into the recording studio. So we're at Cat House Sounds, and so I wanted to do something different because after a while you just kind of get tired of doing the same old shit,
Yeah.
So it was like I just brought it to the band at the last minute, and they all go, "Oh my God, we have to learn another song. We're trying to go to the
Well, the last stuff I heard the new stuff you were writing on, kind of sounded almost like Chili Peppers, kind of like funky, really rocking. What's the new music?
Maybe I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. This is actually a really simple. It was an exercise and just creating a riff and just trying to do a chord progression behind it. It's really simple, and then it just rolls into an F major 7 to a G major 7 kind of a bridge, which actually your youngest brother Sean told me I should introduce to the band because I wasn't going to have them do the bridge too because they were already freaking out about having to do this goofy little song to begin with. But anyway, yeah, so been at it for a while playing music. I like the opportunity to play with different people because you kind of get in the same old with all the folks you play with. And don't get me wrong, these people are good players.
Yeah.
That I play with.
Yeah. When did you start playing? How old were you?
Oh man, I was. It's kind of funny. I started playing the drums in the 5th grade, and was in like the and then was getting a drum kit, and Dustin's grandmother, my mother, said she gave me a choice of drums or guitar, because I started. The Beatles were real big, and I was starting to want to do the Beatle thing,
Yeah.
So I chose guitar, but I still play the drums. And have played the drums in bands for years. I kind of end up being the guy they call when they can't get their regular drummer.
Yeah.
Because I'm not good enough to be their guy, But it's really cool to be be the drummer and not be the front guy, the front man in the band, and That way you can kind of see everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I know, Steve, you play the drums.
Yeah.
I never heard you play the drums. I've heard really good things
Yeah.
about you playing the drums. So, excuse me. So I dig it. You know, I was in, I
Yeah.
called it the Oompa band. But, you know, it's a great Americana band
Yeah.
called Blue Horse. And
Was that with Bill too?
that was with Bill too, yeah. And Richard Scazzari and a bunch of different players and different tones, different sounds, you know, using accordion and horns and
Yeah.
banjos and mandolins and all kinds of different stuff. So it was kind of cool. I kind of got into the need more cowbell kind of a thing,
Yeah.
you know, and woodblock stuff. But it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoy playing the
It was
drums
pretty
too.
cool.
But yeah, I used to lay on my bed for hours and play this old Lyle semi-hollow body guitar.
Yeah.
Like just trying to noodle through and learn how to play.
Like a electric style semi.
Yeah, it was electric, but I pretty much wouldn't play it electric in
Yeah. Like a
my
jazz
room
guitar.
because it'd be like, Jimmy, shut up! You play, you know, so loud. So I wouldn't do that. You know, I just
Yeah.
kind of dink around, and then I got a great friend, Ray Schaefer, who plays in a lot of bands in the Bay Area, and man, he's just an incredible bassist, and he told me I was like about 17. And he said, man, you know, you're doing this all wrong. Your positioning for your fingers and everything is completely wrong. And so I went, oh, that's not cool. So I had to learn all over again.
Wow. And you actually did it, huh?
I did
Yeah.
because I really wanted to be as good as Ray.
Yeah.
I never have been, but I've always tried. You know, it's like, oh, man, you know, now, I mean, God, because I was the one who kind of talked him into playing bass, you know, and then he got to where he was just... He's really, really incredible.
Well, I guess
Very-
each person learning it the wrong way kind of
Very
gives
gifted.
them their own unique sound.
Well,
And then you already
Your
have to
bad
really-
habits, or
yeah, your bad
part of your
habits.
sound? I
Yeah,
guess.
and
It's almost every.
and sometimes that's really true. And I always have told all my kids that, hey, you know what? There's a ton of really incredible musicians. They're just so gifted and talented and brilliant, but you know, they don't have their own sound. You know, create your own sound so that people, when they hear you, they know it's you.
Yeah, maybe that has something to it.
So, you know, I've tried to do that for better or worse. Sometimes it's worse, you know.
So you do have a
It just
unique
depends.
sound. Who were you trying to emulate at a young age, and how did that transition? Like, who were some of the guitar players that you emulated throughout
wow.
the
Well, you know,
decades?
I mean, you know, John Lennon was an influence, but then, you know, everybody started getting into, because I grew up in the '60s, and it kind of dates me, but you know, everybody was into music I wasn't into, man. You know, I was into the Who and the you know, all these one-word names, you know, Birds and the different stuff
Monkees.
like that. Well, no, I was never into the Monkees actually, but
That's 2 syllables.
all of a sudden, you know, all the cool King Crimson started coming around, you know, and I get Frank Zappa.
Yeah,
and,
yes.
And, you know, then, you know, I kept on focusing on the old band out of the Bay Area, the Sons of Champlin, that I'm just like, hooked up with hard, you know. I mean, Terry Haggerty, I mean, that guy to this day, just, I love listening to him and I like playing along with him and stuff. But, you know, then I got into Steve Howe with Yes and try to do a bunch of that stuff, the prog rock stuff. But, and then, I mean, everybody from, you know, now, I mean, that was then, and now it's like Schofield and all kind, and you know, Larry Lalonde, and you know, just all kinds of Omar, you know, lots of Rodriguez, all kinds
Mars
of different
Volta.
people that. You know,
Oh, you like Omar from Mars Volta?
yeah, I think he's a really great
Yeah, that's
impressionistic guitar player. And,
Yeah.
You
yeah.
like
And
a lot of really inspired by King Crimson. And like
Absolutely,
Blue
yeah.
and Frampton.
You know,
like
oh, absolutely, Fripp.
Fripp. Yeah, Robert
Yeah.
Fripp.
I think he played classical, like Spanish guitar, before he played electric.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. Some,
He's from like New Mexico. So
I've heard
that's-
people say that they could hear
influence.
that in his style.
Now that you mention it, I
They
do
have
hear
ballads
that
and
in his
classic. Well, yeah, he
in
does
his
classical
style.
guitar ballads and interludes in their albums.
loudest band I ever heard in my life, man.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of loud bands. I had to go stuff my
Keyboards
ears
and
with friggin', you know,
saxophones.
toilet paper just to
Oh yeah.
be able to stand them.
At the drive-in, do you
were
remember
back-
that
I
band?
liked
The band they were in before
No,
Mars
I
Volta.
don't.
Oh, they're actually playing again, or
Really?
going to be soon. Yeah, but Omar and Cedric,
Yeah, the singer and guitar.
same guys. Or was Cedric in Mars Volta?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Cedric and Omar.
Yeah.
Both. Okay.
I mean,
which
that lead
which broke up.
vocalist-
So hopefully at the drive-in doing the reunion, we'll bring Mars
Well, they
Volta back
did
together.
Anti-Mask too. That's another band they did after
Yeah.
Mars Volta. That band, like, I don't know if it still happens or what, but that was just like last year or a couple of years ago.
Antibalas. Yeah, cool. You have a wide range of influences. I think.
Well, yeah, and my kids, they helped to enrich that in me, and I hope I helped to enrich
we've
it
always
in
had
them.
a really symbiotic relationship with sharing music throughout all the brothers and father and
Yeah.
son. I mean, I was listening. My first concert was Yes. I think I was like probably 8, 9 years old
He was more
during the Yes
interested in their
reunion
tennis
tour.
shoes.
Oh, I noticed that. Yeah, they got Reebok,
That's all
Reebok
these
pumps
old
on.
guys with these cool shoes.
Reebok
man.
pumps. I'm like, what's this? But yeah, the two drummers. So you had Buford, Alan White,
Yeah.
both keyboard player. Is beautiful.
Dustin talks about when you took him and Jeremy to see Tool and Primus.
Oh man, New Year's. That
New
was
Year's Eve '93.
That was a dangerous show.
Yeah, Dustin bit his
It's a
tongue off or
dangerous
whatever.
place.
Yeah, well, he was out there moshing, and then Jeremy had blue hair, and this guy, he came up next
Long
to us.
hair, long blue hair.
Yeah, and this guy was so trashed. He flipped down and he sat down in a seat next to me, and he just could barely speak, and he says, "How you doing, man? How's your wife doing?" I turned to Jeremy and I said, "Jeremy, say hello to the nice fella." And Jeremy turned and gave him this weird look and said, "Hello." And the next thing I knew, the guy just turned and he puked right in the aisle, and he got up and he split. That was just the first chorus of everything that went down at that place. I mean, there were a lot of teenage girls, man, that were in the, because it was in Oakland, and so it was in there where they play the
It
basketball.
was the old Oracle
Yeah.
Arena, so
Yeah,
it was
and so
Oakland Coliseum at the
They
time.
were all in the walkway
yeah.
where you get
Or no.
down into the bowels of the place. They were missing shoes. They had bloody noses, black eyes. We ended up splitting
Yeah, as we
early.
walked in, we came in early. I mean, before Everclear was the opening band, and we came in early.
During
and, like,
Everclear, people were getting beat
that was
down?
when Everclear was just coming out. But the parking lot was littered with mini bottles because they weren't selling alcohol and they weren't
They
letting
made a big
people in.
mistake. No alcohol
And so
inside,
everybody's getting
so-
hammered in the parking lot, and then
Yeah.
we're walking down just the entryway, and it's already lined up with medic, and people are just bloody and broken up. I'm going, what the hell is this? You know, I was 12, maybe 13. Wow.
Just to get them out of there
It
was
was
an
fun.
ordeal. It was, it wasn't as hard as you'd think. Everyone's got their monster boots on and they're all mashing, to Primus, and I'm dragging these guys out before the concert was over because I knew it
It was
would
like
just
during
be.
the encore, second
You just
song.
have to. It was going to get even more dangerous.
During Southbound
Yeah.
Packing
And we're
Room.
just kind of pushing through the crowd, and they're all kind of giving me the hairy eyeball and screaming at me, but they were all so drunk that it was really easy to push them all out of the way. And we just split. We just follow Dad. Yeah, that was.
Hardcore Oakland
Did you
vibe.
enjoy it? Was it a fun
Yeah, no, I
experience?
really dug
Yeah.
it. It was the first time I'd seen Tool. So
So you saw him again?
I've seen him
You seen him a
multiple
few
times
times? Yeah.
since
You
then.
become a fan when you saw him?
Yeah, but and Tool way outperformed Primus.
Yeah, that was when they were
night.
opening for Primus during
I
the
mean,
Undertow
it was
album.
like they
And then
stole the
just-
show.
Yeah,
and
upstaged
Primus,
them.
they kind of phoned it in.
They were kind of hammered.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
pretty much phoned it in, and that was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
So it was like, what? God dang, I wasn't thinking the Tool would steal the show, but
Yeah.
they really did. They way stole the show.
Yeah. They've always had a standard of live music.
Well, when you
Whether
got
opening or headlining.
the pachyderms, was that may have been though with.
That's Primus, the Southbound
Yeah,
Packing
I was
Room.
just thinking of all the weird.
Well, they had the pictures of elephants going,
on.
yeah, elephants during Tool, like
Going at it.
elephants fucking, and
Yeah.
all kinds of creatures.
Yeah, that was during Tool, right?
Yeah, that was during Tool. Yeah,
things blend together. But
Yeah.
that was like I was like, wow, interesting.
yeah, they have big. That was in the '90s, doing big old
Big
cinema
screen.
Yeah.
screens behind, and showing very disturbing, pictures and
Yeah,
visuals
really
and-
disturbing. Maynard stuff.
Yeah, weird stuff. And it's like, whoa, really cool, occult, dark. Like,
So, all right, let's talk about jamming. I wrote a few things out. You guys want to try to jump into it?
Yeah, I saw
Sure.
that. Yeah, and I got one I
It's
can
nothing crazy. It's
write
like
down too.
4/4, 3/4.
yeah.
I like to keep it simple. Allows a little more freedom, and I screw up less when we.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I like to keep it simple.
we'll go psychedelic. We'll go prog. We like to go out there, me and my dad. So we'll probably, same with Steve.
Yeah.
Some impressionistic kind of weird stuff. I want to get weird tonight. If we
Oh,
get
yeah.
weird, something different. I don't know.
Dustin and I haven't
Sure.
played for a while.
haven't played-
He was in F&B
Yeah.
for a while, so about almost a year, huh?
Yeah.
He just got bored with it.
It really helped me hone into my, playing disciplined music.
Yeah, I
didn't
mean
have-
it's kind of classic rockish.
I
right?
didn't play. I did a disservice. It being my only project at the time, so I had all these thoughts in my head and overplayed, and would try things that didn't fit for that group.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I'm sorry. And then I just had other projects going on to where I just probably could do the part, but just was at a space where I was too overly ADD and creative, and just got too much out in that once a week jam, and abused them.
Yeah. Useless
And
like
they
an
put
old
up with me for long, so. But
That's
hey, here we
that's
go.
one thing. You got to serve the music no matter what music
Yeah,
you're playing.
play to the
you know?
song. I mean,
And sometimes you just can't serve it no more. You
Yeah.
want to move on.
yeah.
You know, you just want to move to the next town, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, expand, and get weird.
Well, cool. You guys ready to get in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
you
let's
bet.
do it.
Let's do it.
dangerous for me. Look out, you're too dangerous. You see, get out, get a hold of yourself. You see, get out, you're way too dangerous for me. Got coming round here, knocking at my door, and don't want you staying, don't want you to get on board, and hate what you're saying about me to my friends. Don't want you staying, don't want you to get on look out, she's too dangerous for me. Look out, you can have it if you wanna, and see. Get out, get a hold of yourself. You'll see. Look out, it's too dangerous for me. Got coming right here and knocking at my door, and don't want you staying, don't want you to get on more, and hate what you're saying about me to my friends. Don't want you staying, don't want you to dance. Get out. Look out, she's too dangerous for me. Look out, you're way too dangerous. You see, get out, you can have it if you wanna. You see. You're way too dangerous for me. Not coming right here and knocking at my door, and don't want you staying, don't want you to hear no more, and hate what you're saying about me to my friends. Don't want you staying, don't want you to hear no more. Get out. dangerous. Don't be. Look out. Too dangerous. You see. Get out. Get a hold of yourself. You see. Look out. You crazy bitch. And see. Stop coming right here, knocking at my door. Don't want you staying, don't want you here no more. Hey, what you saying about me to my man? Don't want you here. And then get out.
All right, mid-break. What's up, everybody? Steve left.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Round one completed.
Round one done.
Have I told you, Dad, about the last theme that we did? We called it Jiu-Jitsu Jams.
No.
Yeah, we have a fan that he does jiu-jitsu, and
Really?
he listens to it, and he likes the mystery school music. And what they do for jiu-jitsu, they do 6-minute rounds and then 30-second cooldowns.
Really?
We're not exactly positive on how many rounds, but who knows? So we brought over the crew, and we did, I think, 6 or 7 rounds of 6-minute jams. We put up a timer on the wall on the
cool.
iPhone app, and then 30-second interludes. And we did about, probably 6, so it was like 45 to 50 minutes worth of music, and it was an intense musical experience because by the end of the jams, you can hear like the guitars are out of tune. I'm fucking exhausted,
Yeah, 30 seconds is
it was a workout for us. Yeah,
It is. It is.
and I
quick.
kept like something going on the toms in between, so you could think of like a jungle beat, like you think of a ninja cooling down or doing jujitsu, and then we would try to blast in at exactly the countdown. And I mean, man, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So who knows?
That
we
guy
haven't put it up yet.
Well, that guy, a friend of mine, Mitchell Torres, he played at his jiu-jitsu and they liked it.
Well, I was
They
gonna
did?
say,
He said
did
they
they
liked-
spar to it?
That version
yeah,
of
they
it?
did it. He said I sent it to him. Yeah,
Okay.
that version. He said they like had it pumping through like a Bose sound system, like
Really?
a surround sound system. And he said it sounded really good, and they
It all sounded good except the last progression, in my humble opinion. It was a really odd progression, like ding, 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 and we were exhausted at that point,
an
and we
hour
stuck
in
on.
in jiu-jitsu, you're probably
We were like 50 minutes in, and we were just like,
You're about
holy
to-
not
shit.
even just us.
We were the
Imagine
same way.
if you're doing jiu-jitsu to it.
Yeah, I think
You're
we were in the
probably
same
hella tired,
headspace as that's what I got
Well-
into, the headspace of doing jiu-jitsu, and we were there. We were exhausted
That's
with them.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it was fun.
So when I went in for my
Parameters.
brown belt test, and
Yeah, he did karate basically my whole life, and even trained me and my
What kind of
brothers.
karate was it?
well, I did what was called bok fu, which was a combination, really, of taekwondo.
My brother. That's what my brother does.
really,
did.
and gung fu.
It's White Tiger Kung Fu, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
My brother
Yeah.
does that. That's what
Really?
he is a black belt in that.
Really, I was a sensei
Uh-huh.
for many years, until we moved to Sacramento, and Dustin was when Dustin was little. I got great stories about.
Yeah, he basically
About
chose
the
me
whole
over
stuff.
karate,
I,
kind of.
well,
thing.
yeah, I had to at that point, but
Went and got the real
Oh.
job, became a businessman.
the brown belt test, and it was a sensei test too, so they really put it on you. Was 2.5 hours, and it was grueling like that, where you would take your break was to go puke.
Wow.
Was pretty much it, and then they'd berate you for that, and nobody was good enough, so it ended up being between 2 people to finally fight it out for your brown belt.
Only one would get it.
Yeah, we started out with 8.
Wow.
And I got it.
You got it out of 8. 1 out of 8.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
you 1 out of 8, and then I had to fight the heavyweight black belt champion, just come back from China, and this guy was a scary big motherfucker, like 6'3", with these steel blue eyes and black hair, and he was like, and
Yeah,
he
just to
beat
tell the audience, you're 5'7", 150.
I'm 5'7", right now I'm a $140. Then I was maybe a $155, and he just beat the crap out of me. I mean,
Uh-huh.
he really did. And Mr. Burton, we're going to tie you between 2 trees so that you're even more flexible than you already are, so that your left side is equal to your right side. And I
So
was
you
like,
basically got initiated into a gang.
well, it was beyond. Yeah, it was more like the mob, because man, I had to do shit like wash people's cars.
What year was this?
I mean, all kinds of crap. And then one night we all got way fucked up and went back to the dojo and proceeded to rip the place to shreds.
What
we
year,
busted all the
Dad?
dojo screens. Man, we were
The
Huh?
guy who was with you.
the
guys-
some
the
other
senseis and
senseis. I
stuff?
had 3 other senseis.
You guys
with
trashed
me.
your own place.
Oh, when we got in a lot of trouble for
Oh,
it and had
man.
to pay for it all too.
Alcohol infused?
Yes, most definitely.
Induced, I should say.
Most definitely, and we were actually at this bar, and there was a guy behind the bar that made the mistake of saying that, oh yeah, I'm a black belt and I work out at East West Karate, which is where we.
I'm with the Yamamoto. Let's relive this. I'm with the Yamamoto crew.
It was.
I work there. I challenge you.
It was almost that bad.
What do you say to me?
You say "fuck you" and you grab him and you pull him over the top and you beat the crap out of him. Is what
You threw him on the bar like Clint Eastwood.
It was really a big bar fight, and then we all just escaped by the skin of our teeth before the police showed up. That was the night I pulled the my ignition key out of my BMW, but when it was still running. That was a very bad mistake.
That's interesting. How do you do that?
Well, you were really drunk and just kind of yanked it out when you shouldn't have.
That was the days when you were allowed to drive drunk with.
But that was a long time
standing
ago.
up
I mean, we should
in the
probably
backseat.
cut this from the whatever's going on.
What year was that?
Is this a censorship moment?
No, not really. I don't really care. It's so long ago. It's another lifetime now. What year was that? That was about 1980.
Wow.
Maybe even earlier, right around that time. But anyway, we used to do all kinds of crazy stuff and put on all kinds of demonstrations, and I fought in a lot of tournaments all over the place. But that's got nothing to do with.
So
music.
that's what I was going to ask. Are there parallels between the martial arts, like we're saying, jiu-jitsu jams, and doing that with music? Were those integral in your training?
Yes, that's why I thought about it, because you know how a lot of weight trainers or boxers or whatever, they train a certain music. You know.
Yeah. What did you listen to when you guys trained?
You know what I listened to back then? I was really kind of. I was still into Yes a lot and stuff like that. So I was listening to prog rock and jazz, different jazz.
Other people were too.
And a lot of Zappa.
Kind of helps like different movements and timing.
Yeah.
Does the music inspire with the timing, like different moves and how to kind of think in different ways?
Sometimes it didn't. It depended upon what you were doing. If you were doing katas, it was really difficult to do it to.
Would it ever hinder it?
To music, it hindered it a lot with katas. But
how about do it like to Devo?
Oh, you know, if you were doing it to Devo, you could actually pull a kata off. I mean, you really could. Some of the hard katas that I did, not the soft ones. The soft ones were, you know, they were just a little bit more finesseful. That's all.
It was like more Pink Floyd.
Yeah, it was more Pink Floyd. Perfect. That's a perfect analogy. It really is, and quite honestly. But that was a different lifetime. I mean, Dustin, I could hold him in one arm, you know.
Yeah, he trained us well, like me and my younger brothers. From a young age all the way into our teens, doing karate and katas and getting horse stance and moves.
Oh yeah,
we were well trained.
I mean, you know, and of course Jacob went on to be, second degree
he became
black belt
and he's doing
jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu. Yeah, he did nationals with
alternate for the first Olympic team.
Yeah,
that's
he's really good.
Badass, actually, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Made me squeal like a pig. But, yeah.
So what are you guys feeling for round 2 of this martial arts pseudo Zen battle of music?
I think what we'll do is we'll go through a couple of exercises. I think I'd like to try to play Jennifer.
Oh,
you know,
that would be cool.
And I'd like to do
dedicate
this
it to
one.
My lovely lady, Jennifer.
Absolutely, she likes that
Jen,
song.
We love you. It's probably
your mom
one
never
of her
liked
favorites.
that song.
Well, because her name's not Jennifer.
Yeah, but I wrote it about her.
But yeah.
Then I like floated it at different gigs. I'd say, "Hey, this is a song named Jennifer. I wrote it from my wife, but her name is Diana."
Was that her alter ego?
It was all about her green eyes, you know. I mean, it was really I really wrote it for your mother.
Without sharing the name of that, because
it didn't match. I mean, you couldn't say, because when you hear the song, you'll know what I mean with the cadence of the lyrics in association with the music, you know. But I tried to trial balloon it at gigs. I'd say that, and every woman in the office in the
10
bar
years
would go,
later,
ooh, they hated it. It was like, oh, you ugly scoundrel, motherfucker. So I'd stop doing it. I caught the cue, you know, that I shouldn't do it. But I like the song, and my granddaughter really likes the song. That's important to me.
They do.
And
a little friction with the audience is always good.
Well, it's just you got to know how to do it right. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't doing
Get them riled up.
But
let's do it, Jennifer.
I'd like to do Jennifer, and I'd like to also try to do this one.
I like your
new ditty that I was working on. It's called what's it called? I'm Coming Down.
Another one that's been stuck in my head is Dr. Jack.
Oh, we could do Dr. Jack too. I think that you'd like that one, man.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
I got that CD.
Oh, cool. So you know that?
Bill gave it to me a long time ago.
Okay, so you know you've heard Jennifer then too. You probably just don't remember it.
No, I remember it.
Oh, cool. You actually listened to my CD?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, because he came over and jammed.
Yeah, I came over to jam, so I like kind of.
You had to.
bit.
It was like homework.
No idea. I didn't necessarily learn how to play the songs, but I listened to it to get.
Well, you did.
familiar
You had a
with it.
couple riffs. I would come over to jam, and he would do like a little riff. You
Cool.
know, do. And he's like, yeah, you know that one?
Well, honestly, I
I
haven't listened to those in years.
Me either.
I don't remember.
I haven't played it
Dr.
in years.
Jack, I remember a little bit about how that song goes.
You know,
I
that
remember
was.
there was a song
We'll just
Jennifer,
see where it goes.
but yeah, like I have no idea how to play this, but I'll try.
It's weird how you write songs. You know, like I got into writing songs actually, excuse me, because of Bill Van Houten, because I really didn't ever write songs. I just played music, you know, and jammed around, and sung other people's songs.
Yeah.
But then, you know, he's a good songwriter, so
Yeah, he is.
you know, so it was like I learned from him, and then he challenged me to write songs, so I started writing songs. But it was weird because I do these exercises. Like I got this other song called I'm not really fond of, called what's it called? Cajun Red. And it's just a 1-4-5 country tune. And
Where'd
I'm
you
not
get
really,
that cool hat?
Yeah, everybody likes that song.
Hey, boy.
I wrote that song while I was taking a crap. I mean, I did, and it just came. So sometimes lyrics come first, and sometimes music comes first. You know, but the ones that I figured that are the best songs, they're the easiest. They just float. They float by in the sky. It's
Channel
almost
them
like
in,
they're channeled in. It's like they were there,
Yeah.
just waiting to be picked up by an antenna or something. I know that sounds kind of goofy, but
We've talked about it a lot.
you know, but that's
like where like pop songs come from, right? They just float by and you kind of pick up on them somehow.
This one's really poppy.
Well, I don't.
It's a pop
I guess
country.
maybe I write pop songs.
But no, I did the
hate to
same way.
think
Where
of it that way.
I would write prog music in the same way, like really complicated
Well,
stuff.
I feel like
and it would
certain
float
types of
through.
music you kind of force out of the instruments. And,
Yeah, and those tend not to play the best, you know, for me in the future. But when I start working through something as an exercise in music, you know, trying to mix major with minor or you know do interchanges, then all of a sudden I tend to write the music to before the lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I did with Jennifer.
Yeah, there's a place for both approaches, like writing
So it was
lyrics
kinda-
first
it
or
was kinda
melodies.
cool.
Yeah,
first.
let's go play.
Yeah.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm ready.
Eyes are green, so green. I need to know right now, what do they see in me? Jennifer, lips so ruby red. I need to know right now, what do they say about me? First day, fell in love. Second day, need your love. Third day, still in love. Eyes are green, so green. I need to know right now, what do they see in me? Jennifer, lips so ruby red. I need to know right now, what do they say about me? Second day, need your love. Third day, still in love. Almost thought I had a way about me, saying things so I said green, so green. I need to know right now, what do they see in me, Diana? Jennifer, lips so ruby red. I need to know right now, what do they say about me? What do they say about me? Saw you late last night. It was no mistake. You were kissing that guy. Ooh, I'm coming down. You never treated me right. Always fooling around. Well, had all I could take, yeah. Yeah, I'm coming down. I'm coming down. Yeah. You're always fooling around. Oh, head all I can take it. I'm coming down. Oh, I'm coming down. I'm coming down. Got my feet on the ground now. I'm coming down. I'm coming down. Yeah.
All right, how's it going? Post jam.
Hey,
How's
welcome
how's
back.
everybody feeling?
Yeah, pretty
Great.
good.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys. Like I said, for indulging me.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
coming out
cool.
and taking the ride that is this experiment.
Yeah, I want to hear Tony play guitar.
all
some of that
indulgence.
stuff. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to hear how that stuff all.
Well, he kind of did on the bass. so
Oh,
got a
absolutely,
little
but
bit
just I could only imagine.
you can listen to the previous episodes too. Next time though, you can now become we can put your name on the list for the favorite guest,
Oh wow! So
and
like,
then you can be
so I can get in the line.
the
and
repeat
get in the
offender.
list, huh? Or get on the list and get in the line.
if such a thing exists.
It's like a patch. For
It's a
your
hyperbial.
jacket.
Let's patch. I like the patch. Maybe a little tattoo or something.
Oh,
Very exclusive.
that's
yeah.
beyond a members only jacket.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
He's going
Yeah, it's
hardcore
like
mob.
we don't got a guy that we don't got a guy that does it normally. But if you know a guy who will do it for you.
Well, I know a guy, but he's one of Dustin's friends, and Nick Potter, and he's way back in. Where the heck is Nick?
Oh, the tattoo man.
He is like the Picasso
All-time best
tattoos.
bud, the Picasso tattooist,
Oh,
artist
he is.
maestro.
He's a
Oh
trip.
man, and he plays guitar like a mainstream.
Yeah, he does.
He's got the guitar neck color coded because he's a really great artist. So he has his own like algorithm for he doesn't know the chords, but he knows the bars and ratios, and
He knows what he likes.
Color coded the like self taught,
Uh-huh.
and so it's all the way up the neck. Yeah, pretty cool looking guitar.
Yeah.
He just jams. Me and him are kind of like me and you. It's kind of like family.
Very creative guy.
And Tony even like we can go to some crazy places. Yeah, very creative and like welcoming though, and like embraces the moment, which is I guess what jamming is all about. Embracing a moment and letting yourself, showing yourself. And,
It is, and I want to
Yeah.
do more jamming. I like jamming.
yeah, it's kind of like a purge, huh? That's
It's
how you do the song
it is
right.
a purge, and it's actually as you play more with people, it becomes even just almost the most fun of it all.
Yeah.
It's just the jamming part, It becomes really the crux of the biscuit.
Yeah, it's the unbridled emotion where, unhoned, like you're trying to channel something in. If it is written, like that's a jam is the best way to capture it.
Yeah, and you get the feeling of what everybody else is doing, and you play off of that, and you lend into it, and you kind of mixing all that spirit together. And mixing the spirit's cool.
Yeah. Nowadays, well, I mean, always it seemed like jamming needed a song to like. There'd always be like a song, and then there's a jam break
jumping
in the middle.
point.
Like,
Yes. Yeah, like a jumping off break, but that was kind of
Yeah.
like coming from what was known, and then all of a sudden just jumping off, like just jumping off the cliff into the unknown,
Yeah.
And that's the best part of. I think that's the beauty of music.
I like starting on the jam.
Well, I know you
because then
do.
it's open. You're kind of, but you can always break away from the initial loop. But it's kind of nice to start and then kind of create a song on the fly.
Well, I get
kinda like Chia
Tony's
Pet
point
song.
though that I mean the jam started with the song, like the songs happen, and
Lay
then
the
people go,
foundation.
oh yeah, and then we gotta go off here because it just is right.
Or I mean, maybe that's I guess the most appreciated way of jamming is when it's in a good song.
Well, that's when you can
also.
do it commercially. I mean, if you want to be a jam band, you have to jam out of your hit, and sneak it in on people.
Yeah. Well, I
Kinda-
guess there is the real jamming tradition, which is like jazz.
Yeah,
That-
you just kind of start out and go.
Yeah, but even that is, if you get into jazz, it is really truly totally contrived. I mean, you kind of already know what you're going to do, and it has its form, and then you go outside that form. I really see like the Dead as the real, the quintessential kind of a jam
Yeah.
band, because they'd be playing a cover, man, and all of a sudden they'd go into a 40-minute jam and come back to one of their tunes and then go off to the cover again, and then before you knew it, they were taking a break to eat some acid or something, But
that is that's the jam band right there.
yeah, and I mean that was kind of like when you know one another so well that you just kind of you've got this synergy between you all, and you can just go where you the collective consciousness of the whole is more than just a individual consciousness, you know. So it's like all of a sudden it just goes somewhere where you never even expected it. And that's what I think is, and maybe that's what you're saying, Dustin.
That's what jam's about.
That's what is the true essence of a jam.
Do we get you into unexpected territory?
Yeah,
tonight?
and I enjoyed that. And it's kind of like you're trying to constantly monitor where you're going with it in a artistic way, but in like a throw it against the wall way. You know, you're like, I like to throw it against the wall, and sometimes it just hurts like you're throwing it against the wall.
Yeah.
And other times it's just like, wow, hey, that's really a cool splatter.
We're very free here.
there's some abrasiveness in my playing, huh?
It does.
Well, I was thinking actually more of mine.
Oh, really?
But
I was thinking like, yeah, that.
But no, I mean,
I was getting pretty rough with it.
I find that to be very compelling. I mean,
Those
that's what I like about
mistakes
it.
Can,
Well,
give
look
a
at
breather.
because what it does is it kind of like chooses one another out in a really kind of a spiritual way. You know, it's not like you're banging chests together or anything. It's more like you're going, hey man, I just really thought this was cool, and then somebody else, then you quiet it down or you bring it up, or somebody else goes, oh yeah, it's very cool, I want to do it too.
It's a creative consensus.
And that's just and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the jam. You know, that's the beauty of playing music with one another, because you do become the collective soul of everybody, and it flies places where you never would have thought it would have flown. You know.
Yeah, it's bigger than.
And I find that to be really
thing.
enlightening. Then I can go and process it in my own little way.
Yeah.
You know, and go, oh, that was different. Now I got to try that again. You know, and it never really comes out exactly the same. That's the thing about a jam.
I feel like if we didn't record these things, I wouldn't even really remember most of what would even go on.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's kind of why you listen back to it and you go, oh, and then you may play over it and you go, oh, that's cool. And I could do this with that. And then you kind of, if you don't record that, then you do forget that too.
I still, though, even never pull anything out of these. Like, I never, decide, I'm going to take apart.
Oh. Each night is his own unique moment.
That's not, I guess, for some reason, that's not the way I write something. Like, something has to, for some reason or another, I could play it over and over enough times myself. And hearing it, I don't know, it just... I would
editing it down from a jam is difficult at this point.
You might think I would sometimes try to write songs out of some of this stuff, but
it's almost like it's blasphemy,
to steal a jam riff.
Yeah, it's like, well, wait a minute, that was a jam thing, and this is a song thing, and they're completely different. One's really structured, and the other is really loose.
But that's one technique of writing songs, though. Like if you want to write from a page on the shitter or write from a melody, another way to write songs is to jam as a band.
Absolutely,
and write from
absolutely, and that's when really as a band you come together and you create something as a band. You know, not just as one person bringing it into a group of people, and then having the collaboration. But so that's a very unique thing that not too many people get to experience. That's why it's so cool.
Well, exploring new forms of communication through music. Who knows the mystery of it? The source field fabric of how we can kind of almost psychically link to where we know where we're going by learned inference of, notes, just like you would in everyday life. But it is pretty cool how you can connect and foresee where things are going and kind of write a song on the fly, and this really conscious piece, cohesive piece between complete strangers at a lot of times on this, where one component of this meeting has never jammed with the other person, but we still kind of, at least one point in the night, create some cohesive conversation as a brevity from the cacophony of sound, and it comes into harmony, and we're all coming to some agreement.
Asking yourself the question: Is it luck? Is it luck or is it destiny?
I think it's inevitability, is what it is, because life seeks ways to communicate and to connect and to share information, whether through conversation verbally, through visually, or through people musically. You know, so it's neat to explore, you know, jam sessions of what we're bullshitting about now
Is that
verbally.
like a Richard Dawkins quote?
I just made it up myself.
Sometimes, you know, life is just kind of made up as you go.
Yeah.
You know, and you never really think that you'd be where you are from where you were, or even where you end up. So that, I mean, I get really out there and go, well, life is a big jam, huh? You know, so it all depends on how wide open you want your mind to be when you're doing all those things. You know, when we were little kids, I mean, I always used to think that, well, am I really in this universe, or I'm just kind of like in a drop of water somewhere on the back of a aardvark, you know? I mean, who knows what the hell it is. But as you get older, you get regimented in all the different things that you learn how to step in place, you know? And when you're jamming, you're out of that. You're out of that. And so to me, that's really freedom, you know? And we all get caught up in all the trappings of our world, and we lose our freedom.
And you can bring it back.
Yeah, you can bring it back with a good old jam.
Break the routine.
It's like being involved in something that will forces you to focus on it so strongly that you don't have to. You have to break out of, I guess, your normal way of thinking.
Yeah. It's almost like meditation,
or like walking on a tightrope, or like, you know, a lot of things that require like a lot of focus.
Yeah, a whole lot of focus.
Yeah, because on every edge you could fall off, every corner. Sometimes those mistakes become the jam, you know, and the next song that you would have never written.
Because music is safer than like anything else. Like,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Walking on
it's
a
safe
tightrope.
way to explore.
I mean, doing anything that requires a lot of focus, like working with fire, juggling. Chainsaws.
Definitely no physical harm can come of jamming unless the drummer throws a stick at you, or
you could hurt your ears
by accident.
Hurt your ears, maybe.
Your ears, I guess.
Shock yourself.
Playing too loud, shock yourself with like a bad amp. So I mean, it's not totally safe.
It's the emotional realm that you're exploring on the musical
have stuff
level.
thrown at you at a gig, you know, for over jamming. You got to learn to duck.
Yeah.
You've had stuff thrown at you before?
I have, actually, yeah.
What was it? What was the item?
I think it was an orange, actually.
Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah. They were just trying to feed you, maybe.
No, they weren't trying to feed me.
The tomato. That's
they're trying to feed my butt.
C.
For some reason, a tomato is like what you're supposed to throw.
At least I would have felt like
orange seems a little bit more like giving.
I was christened, you know, if it was a tomato. It was just one of those things.
Were you playing something particularly offensive?
I don't even remember. It was a long, long time ago.
You just remember something orange.
No, I remember it was an orange. I remember it was actually an orange. But it was a long time ago.
Well, we made it through.
I probably deserved it.
Without Agent Orange showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Bullwinkle didn't come tonight.
Yeah. It rocked.
We had a full jam.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was cool.
I want to thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you.
I had a blast.
I had fun. I was excited, as usual.
I was as well.
We got to do a power trio, you know, and a quartet, where we didn't have any duplicate instruments tonight. I mean, we've had some nights where there's 3 guitar players. I mean, tonight was pretty much every man for himself.
Well, I've heard some of these sessions that just blow my mind.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can kind of do when you're put on the line and have to just do something.
Yeah. No net required.
Yeah, you just rise up to the occasion, and sometimes you don't. But hey,
you put the padding on the walls.
Put the padding on the walls.
That's the thing about jamming, you know.
Yeah.
You don't fall down, but you got to put the padding on the walls.
Yeah, right.
Or the neighbors.
Wear your PPE, your safety equipment.
Or the neighbors
might get dangerous. But I don't know. I think what did we do? Do you think we met our goals where we started from the beginning of the night? I think I strove for a little bit of weird. I think we got some sequences of weird. I think we got the blues there for a second, you know, but I think we explored some original songs, some original jams.
I really didn't have any kind of an agenda or any goals. I guess my biggest goal was just.
Me neither. I never do. Dustin always acts like we come here with an agenda. What do you want to get out of tonight? Like, I feel like I want to feel better about myself.
He's driving the bus, so it's
have a lot of fun.
I think it's just trying to like see where the parameters are, because like I always try to take it to the edges of the box and do something kind of different. That's what I go for with jamming, you know, because I'm getting out everything in the head that you can throw together where it's not playing to a particular style or song. So that's just like you know, kind of putting out the feelers to see where the parameters are, so I can kind of hold everything together. You get the train, know when to toot the horn.
Well, I just personally just enjoy it. You know, I'm used to being in a 5-piece band setting where we're really kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 song. You know when you're getting in to go into the studio and it costs substantial money to do all this stuff. It gets kind of serious. Yeah. And you just keep you work at it. And I'm not a big fan of repeating songs to try to get them right. I get bored too easily.
Well, Rush said if you can't record it in 2 takes, you shouldn't be playing the song.
Well, and I agree completely. But sometimes we have 5-headed monsters, so sometimes you have to work with what you got.
Yeah.
So that's why I like the freedom of coming out and being more free form. And I'd like to even get out. When I start playing in this situation, I'd like to get out my pedal board and start working through that. And the sequencing of that and start really, doing some backwards playing and some different things that I kind of enjoy. It's really cool. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, really at all. But Shane Manning put up he posted this little piece on the Beatles a long time ago when they were, actually it was long after Lennon was dead, but you had George Martin sitting in there with Ringo and Paul and George, and they're talking about how John came in and with this exercise he wanted to do a song with just one drone chord, and it was the song Tomorrow Never Knows. It's a really cool song, Turn off your mind, relax, and float downstream, right? And it's boom, bam, boom, and so you got George Martin kind of kibitzing about it, and you get, of course, Paul McCartney, who's the consummate of everything, saying, well, we took little bits of all this tape I had, and then Martin said, yeah, and we all went into different studios, and we looped it, and we put it all together, and we could never recreate that. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And then all of a sudden, George Harrison, they start to cue up the song, and George Harrison turns to Paul McCartney. I can't really quote it, but he said, "Now we're going to really hear a song, aren't we?" And Paul just went, "Yeah," and it just boom, bop, boom, up, just came on. It's like, dude, that's exactly what we're talking about. That's like jamming in the studio.
Yeah.
When they took all that shit and put it together, and they were just doing a really like Lennon used to do, go and do subjects when he's drawing shit, and it was just about one chord.
Yeah.
How can we make that entertaining? And I'm like, wow, you entertained the shit out of me for a long time now, man, with that song. So cool. But watching those old men look at one another and go, oh my God, you're gonna really hear the shit now. That's what they really wanted to say. That was pretty cool. Yeah. But so that's what I kind of equate the transition from jamming, like you were saying, Dustin, into making it a song.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting an engineer, Tony, in there to go, oh yeah, well why don't we just take these little snippets of these tapes and it's like, wow, really?
Yeah.
You just kind of put it all together, and you're still jamming. And then all of a sudden you go, wow, we could never. Well, there's no way we could replicate that.
It's a lot of moments on this show.
But isn't that cool? Because then they got it down for everybody to hear.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it enriched a lot of people's lives.
Yeah. Capture the
and that's what art is, man,
bowl.
is enrichment of people's lives.
Yeah, and now, like, to do that kind of thing, mixing stuff together, computers make it so easy So
Yeah.
you could. So in a way, it kind of cheapens doing that kind of thing nowadays, because you could so easily slide everything back and forth
Yeah.
and stretch them. But when you really do it on like tape, and you're just stuck with what you did.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way, like finger painting.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really cool thing.
I just kind of found it to be, I don't know, exciting and endearing all at the same time, you know, because it's like history. But it was very cool. I digress. It was just I thought off of your thought I would springboard to that because to me that's like really creative jamming in a studio sense.
Yeah.
And still using the parameters of, I want to do a study on a song with one chord.
Uh-huh.
I've done a lot of those studies. They kind of end up as Fs a lot of times.
I think that's what we're trying to do here. Those studies. How creative can you get?
Yeah.
Just
We're doing the jam in A and just...
everybody just kind of accepts it, like how wild you can go. You got to have a place to do that. But so, welcome aboard.
Well, you
fellas.
got one. I mean,
Yeah.
very cool. It enriches our lives,
Uh-huh.
you know, and that's cool. I mean, what else are you going to do with your time? There's lots of great stuff to do, but to me, this is the greatest thing I could be doing.
Yeah, learn a little
now.
bit of something about yourself. And
Podcasting.
your
Yeah,
friends around you.
podcasting, baby.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And like
Combining old
podcasting,
art with new.
who's listening?
Who knows? Yeah.
But the point is,
We'll be the
is
next
that,
ones
hey,
too.
We had fun doing it, right? That's the creative bent.
Well, yeah, we got out that creativity in our brains, so now we can do justice to the next band or song or group that we're trying to do. And it helps us hone in and focus.
Dustin has been trying to convince me that aliens listen to our podcast.
They probably do out there. So that's what's keeping them away.
Well, in string theory, it's a
I'm teasing.
probability. The probability might be low, but doesn't want to live in a world where, there's limits on
yeah,
possibility
limitless
and
possibilities.
Fuck it. Why not? Who cool. Be reasonable about it and, be logical to some sense, but at the same time, have a time or two where you just throw logic out the window and believe in probabilities and 1 in a billionth and realize that 1 in a billionth, though not highly probable, it is still probable. And that's kind of the cool and slightly frustrating thing about this reality. But that's the catalyst.
Well, it's better than some of the
propel you
reality
on.
we face daily. So
It's the best reality it is.
You know?
It's the reality we want because we create it for ourselves. So,
we definitely create our own reality storms. There's no doubt about it.
yeah. Yeah, and sunny days. So, but yeah, I think getting these cobwebs out and jamming helps you realize what song you want to write. What reality you want to express. You have to throw a lot of shit down the toilet before you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Really sock it to me.
If you say so. I think it's getting late.
yeah. Well, good jamming, everyone.
Yeah, I had a blast, guys, and just
Yeah, that's
riffing
cool.
now
Yeah.
is cool
Good
too.
job, guys. Good times. Well, thanks again, Dad.
You're welcome.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Love you.
Good old Jimmy
Thanks
B.
again.
Love you
Yeah,
too,
good
DJ.
old-
Tony,
Yeah,
you're a great
those are
man,
good
great
times.
host. Everything about it, man. I had a blast.
All right, dude.
you
Yeah.
know,
Thanks.
hope I didn't overstay my welcome.
Yeah.
No, until next time.
Yeah, I really had a good time. Been a long time coming.
Yeah. It was
So-
cool.
Thank you once again, boys. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, man.
All
Thanks
right.
for coming out.
Another successful episode.
Yeah.
All right.
Good night.
Good
Peace
night.
of the world.